Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's F Dot, and we're gonna go through another week of picks. I missed last week, and I don't really have an excuse, so we're just gonna smooth on over that. Week number 8 of the SPL is coming up. Everything starts on Thursday, so right away, just getting into it. Soar over Denial Esports is probably the way that you want to go, probably the safe pick. But Denial is very, very strong, and they've proven to be very strong. They forced a 14-minute surrender. Granted, it was against a much different team than Soar in ALG, but it still just goes to show the type of dominance that Denial is really capable of. What's really scary about this Denial squad is that they're having a lot of fun, and when these guys have fun, they win games. So that's something to watch out for. Realistically, I think that this winds up being a split. I think that Denial can definitely beat Soar off of how strong Denial has been. Both teams really need to win these games as well. Everybody's competing over DreamHack. I think this one goes split down the middle, which is tough. If you pick Soar, I'm not making fun of you, but I do think there's a split there. LG versus Eager. This one, again, another close matchup. Luminosity with Scary D has looked like a much better team than in the past, but Eager, I still maintain this is one of the stronger teams in North America. I think that Eager winds up 2-0ing Luminosity here, and I think a lot of people lose FP on this match. Envy versus ALG. The battle of the bottom. 7-13 Envy, 5-15 Allegiance. Both of these teams are going to switch things up, so I heard. Well, Allegiance is definitely for sure. I just kind of think Envy will. We'll see how this goes forward. Will the changes for Allegiance be enough? Who knows? At the end of the day, Envy always has the Cyclone Spin effect, and I don't think Allegiance always has the Lasses effect, but I don't think that's as wide as the Cyclone Spin effect. So I give this one over to Envy. I think we can see 2 wins out of Envy, which would be good for the squad overall. Coming in here, Cringe Crew versus Hunger for More. This is interesting. I think very easily earlier in the season I could have just went next, but this time around, Hunger for More are forcing the conversation. And I say that a lot when I say teams are forcing the conversation when they're fighting around Gold Fury or whatever. But I mean, literally, Hungry for More is forcing a conversation on this team. Because if you're not talking about them, you're not talking about European SPL. This team has done a complete 180. They've won the majority of their last couple of games. They've looked outlandishly good. Everything has seemed to come together for HFM. So I don't think this is as simple as Cringe Crew over Hunger for More anymore. Or Cringe Crew over Hunger for More anymore. I think this is a situation that's a little bit closer. I think Hunger for More can 2-0 Cringe Crew on a good day, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the good day this week. I think Cringe Crew gets taken advantage of one game, and then they intelligently adapt and they go ahead and they win number 2. I don't know if Hunger for More can win 2 in a row. Dignitas over Torpedo. If you have any idea who I am or what I do, you know how high I've been on Dignitas. It's about week number 3, week number 4. I think Dig is one of the stronger teams in Europe, despite being 10-10. Keep in mind, the past 4 games they played were against Panthera, so that's just straight up 4 losses right there that you have to count. Torpedo, on the other hand, they're good, but not good enough. Team Dignitas 2-0 easy. Paradigm versus Panthera. Again, these teams are close. All that fun stuff. See you later. Panthera, you just don't bet against them. Fnatic versus Leftovers. Fnatic were a bad team with the best hunter in the world. That's arguable. Fnatic were a bad team with the best hunter in Europe. And now their hunter went on vacation. Now they're a bad team with... This goes to Leftovers, but more because of Fnatic's story. Dig versus Hungry for More is another interesting story. Again, HFM on a rampage. I want to see how well Hungry for More plays earlier in the week. Depending on how Hungry for More plays against Cringe Crew, I'll feel a little bit more confident in this. Right here, I'm going to say Dignitas over HFM. I think Dig is the stronger team. But if Hungry for More come out and they win a single game against Cringe Crew dominantly, or if they go ahead and they 2-0 Cringe Crew for some reason, I think that Dignitas comes through, or I think Hunger for More can sneak a win. But as is, I think Dignitas takes Hunger for More. Enemy versus Randozos. Sorry, boys. Eager versus Soar. Much different story. I think these teams are probably 2 of the more evenly matched opponents in the entirety of the SPL. Eager versus Soar Gaming are very, very close. They're very similarly skilled. I think Soar, a lot of the time, has the upper hand when it comes to grand strategy, when it comes to shot calling and stuff like that. I'm looking to see Eager win here, though, as well. Eager want to stay in the top 3, and this is a team that's motivated by, it sounds silly to say motivated by winning, but Zapman, DJ Pernicus, these guys have a lot to prove. And coming off of a hot win off of LG, which I'm anticipating, I think that Eager can take that momentum into this match. It'll be tough. I think that Split is probably the safe bet here, but Eager, don't be surprised if they sneak a 2-0. Allegiance versus Randozos, this is really rough. I do think Randozos find 2 wins here. Randozos have been trending upwards. They haven't changed much of anything. They're sticking to their game plan, and they're working on it, and they're learning about it. Team Allegiance, on the other hand, they have a couple more wins than Randozos, but they have been changing things almost every single week. I think Randozos are in a better spot simply because of the stability, and that's why we see Randos there. Paradigm versus Leftovers very easily. I think this is Paradigm over Leftovers. Really not much conversation here. Leftovers have proven to be a decent middle-of-the-pack team, but have faltered throughout the course of the season. Paradigm seem to have 1.5 weeks of real stumbling the past week or so. But their last game, they came out like a bat out of hell. Shouts to Meatloaf. And they really proved that they are one of the better teams in Europe. So I think that's the case for them. Just a quick overview. Soar and Denial wind up splitting. These are 2 very evenly matched teams. Soar has the upper hand here, but Denial has been so goddamn hot, I don't think you can count them out. Eager over LG. Plain and simple, I just think Eager's a stronger team than LG at the moment. Envy over Allegiance. These are 2... battle of the bottom is what I said before. Neither of them are in stable spots. They're not consistent with their roster or their win-loss record. I do think that Envy has a leg up because Cyclone Spin can always be Cyclone Spin. Hungry for More versus Cringe Crew. HFM, I think, are very, very hot, and they are a different team from week 1 to week 8. So you can't have that same conversation. I think that Hungry for More are poised to take games off of the best teams, and Cringe Crew is one of them. This winds up being a split. Dignitas over Torpedo, simple. Dignitas a much better team, especially lately, versus Torpedo. Panthera versus Paradigm. You don't bet against Paradigm ever. Leftovers versus Fnatic. The only good thing about Fnatic this season has taken a 2-week hiatus, so see you later. Dignitas over Hungry for More. Despite Hungry for More being super hot, Dignitas just a little hotter. Enemy over Randozos, no conversation. Eager and Soar splitting. I think that Soar probably has the upper hand for grand strategy. They have better shot calling, etc., but Eager is a very good team. These teams wind up splitting down the middle. They're very evenly matched. Randozos versus Allegiance. Simple factor of Randozos have a more stable roster. ALG are still switching things around, so Randozos have more time practicing it. And Paradigm over Leftovers. It's Paradigm over Leftovers. That's it. Retweet this video or whatever. I'm going to put it out, and I'd appreciate love and stuff, like and all that YouTube stuff. Thanks a lot. I'll catch you later. Peace.